A national cabinet meeting to address a national crisis.
Today we'll be discussing housing.
The Prime Minister joining state and territory leaders to tackle problems with housing supply and affordability. All leaders at the table agreeing the key is growing the number of homes.
An ambitious new national target to build 1.2 million new well-located homes over 5 years.
It's 200,000 extra homes on top of what was agreed to last year, with construction to begin from mid-next year. The new homes are backed by new funding to the tune of $3 billion, with another $500 million on offer for pipes and ground services.
This will incentivise states and territories to undertake the reforms which are necessary to boost housing supply.
The leaders also agreed to reform planning and zoning laws to enable more high-density living in cities.
Supply, particularly new construction, will take some time. Construction companies are folding, they don't have the material or the workers to meet the needs of the community.
National Cabinet announcing little new for renters.
The Labor Party just spat in the face of the nearly 8 million people in this country who rent.
I've been negotiating and talking with First Ministers. Not with minor parties.
On top of an extra $2 billion announced in June, the government's commitment to housing now tops $5 billion. Anthony Albanese has his premiers and chief ministers on side to claim their share. But as for the Housing Future Fund, that remains stuck in the Parliament until the Greens decide to pass it in the Senate. Evelyn Manfield, ABC News, Canberra.
More money and more supply, but it could come at a political cost for the Prime Minister. With his take, here's David Spears.
The housing crisis has become one of the biggest challenges confronting all levels of government. And it's a sign of how seriously the Prime Minister's taking it that he's just rustled up another $3.5 billion extra potentially over 5 years to help boost supply. It's more than was expected. And structuring this as an incentive payment injects a competitive state-against-state edge. Ultimately, the aim is for far more medium and high-density housing closer to where people work. It's something that won't necessarily be politically easy for the states to deliver. Now, for renters, more supply might help in the long run, but the Greens' push for a 2-year rent freeze and a cap on what landlords can charge has failed. Instead, leaders have agreed rents should only be allowed to go up once a year and tenants should only be evicted on reasonable grounds. Now, most states have already committed to this and there's no time frame on when the rest will have to catch up. The Greens aren't happy. They'll continue to position themselves as the champion of struggling renters. But will they still vote down the government's $10 billion social housing fund? For now, the Greens are keeping their cards close to their chest.